Hello everyone, my name is Naguura and today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Atal'Dazar in Season 3 of Dragonflight. Atal'Dazar has been brought back from battle for Azeroth and is now a part of the Season 3 Dragonflight Mythic Plus pool. The dungeon is one of the shorter dungeons with a 30-minute timer, and it's also one of the most open dungeons this season, giving you many options with routes and strategies. Every part of this dungeon is open from the start, except the last boss Yesma, which can only be accessed once you finish off the other 3 bosses. This gives your group many options on which trash mobs to deal with and which order to kill the bosses in. This dungeon is known to involve a lot of snapping strategies, so let me explain what snapping is real quick. In open world content, mobs usually reset if you walk far enough away from them or you walk into an inaccessible spot. One of Mythic Plus' base mechanics is the fact that mobs don't reset, but rather chase you forever until either of you die or use an ability to drop combat. Now this has been causing issues in the past because mobs would start evading and glitching out because of it. So in BFA, Blizzard decided to code and plus mobs differently, by making them either teleport to their aggro target if the aggro target is in a spot they don't have a path to, or they teleport the aggro target to them instead. This makes snapping intended mob behavior, and you can freely use this to your advantage in your own Mythic Plus keys. The advantage of snapping is grouping up the mobs quicker and having them all be perfectly stacked. Keep in mind that it can also go horribly wrong though, because mobs tend to evade for a second after snapping, and mobs are also way more likely to bug this way. In Atal'Dazar specifically, there are quite a lot of positions mobs will snap to, and there are also mobs and bosses that snap their aggro target to them instead, which I will go into later. Now let's take a look at some trash mobs. If you choose to go to Vull first, you have to take the right path. You will encounter Stalkers here. Those are stealth patrolling mobs, and you can check the path they are patrolling on MT by mouse overing them, to make sure you don't pull them on accident somewhere. Stalkers are only dangerous for the tank. They do additional nature damage with their melee attacks and apply a poison debuff to the tank, increasing nature damage taken. The reanimated honor guards always come with a reanimated totem, healing the guards while alive. So you need to kill a totem before being able to kill the guard, but finishing off the totem also gives the guard a buff, dealing unavoidable ticking nature damage to the group until the guard dies. The shield bearers of Vull cast Bulwark of Juju, a channeled shield around them, reducing damage taken for every mob standing within it by 90%. Make sure you disrupt this with stuns and disorients or drag mobs out of the shield, but they cast it pretty frequently. Additionally, they also cast Shield Bash on the tank, and if the tank is out of range, they will cast it on a player close by, and probably kill them with it, so watch out. The casters are the Witch Doctors. They keep casting Venom Blast at random players. This can be deadly if not interrupted in combination with other abilities, so make sure to interrupt it. Additionally, they also attempt to hex players with their Unstable Hex cast. If not interrupted, a player will be hexed with a curse and a circle around them, making them unable to use abilities. If the player has the curse removed while other players are within their circle, then those players will be hexed as well. So make sure to move away from the group if you are hexed. Skipping as many reanimated honor guards as possible is a good idea, considering how dangerous they are for the group, especially in combination with Witch Doctors, and they take pretty long to kill because you have to focus down the totem as well. Now let's take a look at Vull. He's basically a big reanimated honor guard with 3 totems healing him in phase 1. To be able to kill the boss, you have to finish off the totems first. Once one of the totems dies, you have 7 seconds to finish off the other 2 totems as well, otherwise it will heal back to full HP. During the totem phase, the boss will leap at random player's location occasionally and cast Noxious Stench right afterwards. Interrupt this cast quickly, otherwise it stacks up a dot on everyone. Once phase 2 starts, the boss will start pulsing AoE damage to everyone, just like the honor guards. Additionally, he will also periodically spawn pools underneath each player, so to preserve space and not to get cut off, try to move as a group and spawn the petals as close to each other as possible. After Vull is defeated, you can take the path down the stairs to reach the middle area. Watch out for the 2 stealth stalkers patrolling the stairs though. Middle area is full of sword packs and sky screamers. The swords jump on players and deal damage to them and anyone within 3 yards of the impact location. A common strategy to deal with the leaps of the swords is to either snap them into position while everyone else is standing in a spot without a path available for the swords to jump on them, or tank them in a normal spot and have everyone except the tank stand on a position the swords can't leap to. Sky Screamer's main ability is Terrifying Screech. If not interrupted, everyone will get feared. Make sure you assign interrupts for them, they cast this ability pretty frequently as well. In the middle of this elevated platform, there are some patrolling mini-bosses: Dinomancer Kisho, Talonia, and Monsumi. Kisho is a hunter and will repeatedly cast Quick Shot on the tank and Deadeye Aim on a random non-tank player. Neither of those casts can be interrupted and deal physical damage. Make sure to interrupt Dynamite. This will heal one of Kisho's pets if let through. Talonia casts Frenzied Charge at a random player, dealing damage and stunning all players in the path. And Monsumi casts Wild Trash, doing AoE damage within 8 yards. Underneath this platform is Rasan. Be careful to not aggro the boss with an ability on accident, as Rasan will snap you to his location if you get in combat with him. Rasan's room is filled with piles of bones. If a player or the boss steps on the piles, a raptor will spawn, so avoid this as much as you can. He also casts Terrifying Visage, causing everyone to be feared. Avoid the fear by not being within line of sight of Rasan on cast finish. After the fear, Rasan will start casting Pursuit on a player, fixating and chasing after them for 12 seconds. To deal with those two mechanics, you can use two different strategies. You can either tank the boss on the right side of the room, seen from the entrance of the dungeon. This way you can use the walls of the room to hide behind the fear, then kite the boss back and forth along that side for the pursuit. Or you can tank the boss on the left stairs. Here you can use the staircase to hide from the fear, but you will need to stop the pursuit to assure the boss is staying in this position. The way you can stop the pursuit is by anyone in the group using an ability like Shadow Melt or Vanish, even if they are not the ones being targeted. Additionally, you can also force the fixate on specific players by having everyone stand underneath the boss except 2 players. This way the fixate will be guaranteed on one of the 2 players at range. Keep in mind the boss also casts Serrated Teeth, a tank mechanic doing heavy initial damage and decreasing physical damage taken by 50%. If you stop the pursuit frequently, the tank might be in danger because the boss is attacking the tank a lot more than if the fixate would be kited out. Next up is Priestess Aluma. On the way to the boss, you have to deal with some notable trash mobs like Juggernauts. Their main ability is the charge and the subsequent whirlwind at the location they charge to. This will prefer players standing at range, and you can avoid the mechanic if ranged players are standing on positions where there is no path available for the Juggernauts to charge to, like the ledges on stairs for example. Confessors are healers and have to be interrupted on both Bumsamdi's Mantle and Mending Word. Samdi's Mantle is a very fast cast, and if not interrupted spawns a big bubble around the Confessor, granting immunity to any kind of CC to mobs standing within it. This is very dangerous because casters standing in the bubble can't be interrupted anymore, and as a result can't be moved out of the bubble either, so be sure to stop the cast. Mending Word is a heal, so assign an interrupt for that spell as well if you can. The Augurs are mages and cast Wildfire at random players, doing initial damage and leaving behind a magic dot. Additionally, they also cast Fury and Chant if a Juggernaut is nearby. If not interrupted, it will cause the Juggernaut to be immobilized and spawn lots of fire swirlers around them, with a very fast impact speed and therefore being very deadly to the group. Make sure to interrupt this cast or be prepared to dodge quickly. The Colossus channels Soul Burn into a random player, dealing damage over time. This can't be interrupted, so save defensive CDs for it. Additionally, Colossi get buffed if any troll dies nearby, increasing their damage by 10% stacking up. This is a magic effect and can be purged. So to make sure to not die to Soul Burn or for the tank to not die, make sure to focus down Colossus first or be ready to purge the buff. Once you're in the boss room, you will also encounter Priestesses. They channel Transfusion into a random player, dealing damage to the player and healing themselves. If the player steps into a blood pool on the ground, they get the Tainted Blood debuff, and any transfusion casted on the player will now deal damage to the priestess instead of healing her. So make sure to step into the pools or disrupt the spell to make sure they don't heal. Now let's take a look at Priestess Aluma. One of her main abilities is Transfusion, the very same ability as the trash mobs, except she will be channeling the ability into every player in the group. Make sure everyone in the group picks up a Tainted Blood debuff by stepping into the pools on the ground. If one or more players can't pick up the pools, you can use immunities to stop her from healing, but she won't take damage either, so it's always better to pick up the debuff instead. She will also occasionally spawn ads on top of the altar. These spirits of gold will attempt to reach the blood pools and absorb them. Make sure to either CC them or kill them off to preserve the blood pools. Once you finish Aluna, you can now move on to the last boss, Yesma. You activate the path by just walking up the stairs. There will be spiders walking down the stairs, exploding if they touch a player, so make sure to avoid them. Yesma herself also spawns spiders throughout the boss fight. These spiders spawn close to players and will occasionally get activated, becoming bigger and chasing random players. To deal with this mechanic, try to stack up to spawn the spiders in the same location, and then move together with the boss around the room. Another important mechanic is Soul Rend. Players will see a purple aura above their heads, and after 5 seconds they take a big initial damage hit, and a mirror image of themselves spawns on their location. The images move towards the boss, and if they reach her, everyone gets a debuff, ticking for heavy damage for 21 seconds. This is usually deadly, so make sure to CC the ads and finish them off before they reach Yesma. Lastly, make sure to assign interrupts for Wrecking Pain, because it does heavy shadow damage to a random non-tank player if let through. This is especially deadly during Soul Rend. Save ranged interrupts to deal with that mechanic while everyone is spawning their mirror images away from the boss. And that's it! I hope this guide helped you out. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet for more videos like this. And if you have any questions, ask in the comments below or come over to my stream at twitch.tv/Naguura. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice rest of your day. Bye.